In 2004, at a high school in Semyeong, South Korea, 18-year-old Dong-eun is severely bullied and harassed by a group of 5 students. Led by the cruel Yeon-jin, they come up with nasty ways to hurt and humiliate her. They burn her skin with heated objects, causing permanent injuries, isolate her by spreading false rumors and publicly humiliating her. They show no remorse and take pleasure in her suffering. This constant abuse drives Dong-eun to the edge, and she reports it to the police. However, all 5 bullies are released without charges due to the influence of Yeon-jin's mother, Hong Yeon-ae, over the police. As the owner of a major construction company, Hong Yeon-ae bribes the police to ensure no charges are filed. She then threatens Dong-eun, demanding that she stay silent or face severe consequences. The bullying continues for many months, and Dong-eun feels powerless because the police and judicial system seem to favor the wealthy. When her injuries worsen, Dong-eun visits the school nurse for medication. Seeing the extent of her injuries, the nurse advises her to report the bullies to the principal immediately. However, Dong-eun remains silent, knowing that there's no real solution to her problem. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin appears behind the scenes and threatens the nurse, saying she can bully her anytime because the entire school administration supports her and she can do as she pleases. When Dong-eun returns to her small, shabby apartment, she is shocked to find all the bullies waiting for her at her home. They taunt her about her poverty and throw her money around. When she pleads with them not to throw her money away, they tell her she must dance if she wants it back. She refuses to dance, and in response, the bullies burn her skin with a hot iron, causing her immense pain. Feeling overwhelmed, Dong-eun decides to kill herself. As she is about to jump into the river, it starts to snow. She rubs the cold snow on her burned arms and legs, which provides her with a small amount of relief, though her heart remains deeply wounded. The next day, Dong-eun writes a letter to the principal requesting to withdraw from school. In her letter, she details how the bullies have harmed her and how no one is taking action to stop them. However, before the application can reach the principal's office, the class in charge and security officer, Kim Jong, who is a close friend of Hong Yeon-ae, disposes of Dong-eun's letter. He tells her that the bullies did nothing wrong. When Dong-eun asks him if he would respond the same way if his own child were in her position, Kim Jong becomes enraged. He removes his expensive wristwatch and starts slapping her and humiliates her in front of everyone. Later that night, Hong Yeon-ae and Kim Jong invite Dong-eun's mother, Mi-hee, who is a drug addict, along with her boyfriend. They offer Mi-hee a check for 1 million won, and insists that she change Dong-eun's school withdrawal application to state that Dong-eun is mentally ill. Seeing the large sum of money, Mi-hee quickly agrees to the deal. When Dong-eun returns to her apartment, she finds her belongings outside and her room empty. She reads the revised application letter, which now states that she is leaving school due to mental illness. Heartbroken, Dong-eun feels as if she has lost everything and that even her own mother does not love her. Desperate, she heads to the riverbank to end her life. As she cries, she remembers she has one thing left to do before she dies, and that is to seek revenge. Dong-eun returns to the school, where the bullies are now tormenting another girl. Dong-eun confronts Yeon-jin and mentions she read online about Yeon-jin's dream of becoming a good wife and mother. She then points out that the other bullies have their own ambitions. Lee Sa-rae wants to be a famous painter, Hae-jong aims to be a flight attendant, Jae-jun plans to take over his father's golf club, and Myeong-mo wants to become a wealthy businessman. She wonders why Yeon-jin's dream is so basic. Yeon-jin laughs it off, saying dreams are for the poor and she already has everything she wants. She just wants to live a life that others will envy. When Yeon-jin asks Dong-eun about her own dream, she responds that her dream is Yeon-jin herself, leaving the bullies stunned. Later, Dong-eun starts working at a textile factory and studies hard at night to prepare for college. Song-hee, a fellow worker, notices Dong-eun's dedication and makes sure to put her shoes outside and walk quietly to avoid disturbing her. This routine continues for 3 years, and in 2007, Dong-eun is accepted into a prestigious college. On her last shift at the textile factory, she thanks Song-hee for being considerate and not disturbing her while she was studying. Song-hee congratulates Dong-eun on her acceptance into college. Once at college, Dong-eun studies diligently, but her primary goal is to exact revenge on Yeon-jin and the others. Every night, she carefully plans the best ways to get her revenge. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin is spending time with her boyfriend, Jae-jun. She confides in him that her parents are arranging her marriage to a wealthy businessman. Jae-jun, who is a playboy, isn't upset and simply says he can find another woman. Years later, Yeon-jin marries Ha Do-young, a wealthy businessman and CEO of Jaepyeong Construction Company. She is thrilled with the marriage. Jae-jun also attends the wedding and watches Yeon-jin with a lustful gaze. Meanwhile, Dong-eun secretly observes the ceremony. Later, Dong-eun checks Facebook and sees what the bullies are up to now. Lee Sa-rae is a famous painter. Jae-jun has taken over his father's golf club. Yeon-jin is a well-known TV weather forecaster, and Hae-jong is a flight attendant. Ma-yeon-oh, however, has done little and now works for Jae-jun, who often scolds and beats him, saying they're no longer friends but boss and employee. Then, Son-hee tries to talk Dong-eun down, suggesting that seeking revenge is harmful and that she should forgive the bullies. But Dong-eun is determined to get legal revenge at any cost. She visits the library every day to read crime novels and fuel her resolve. Later, Dong-eun is giving private tutoring at a student's home when the boy begins to flirt with her. Experienced in handling such situations, she had started a voice recording before the session. The boy is shocked when he realizes she's recording. Dong-eun sends the recording to the boy's mother and then leaves the house. As she steps outside, Dong-eun starts having convulsions and collapses on the road. She is rushed to the hospital and given an IV. When she wakes up, she finds herself in a hospital bed next to a handsome man, Yeo-jong, a resident in plastic surgery who is also receiving an IV due to injuries from a fight. They share a brief look, but Dong-eun suddenly tries to remove her IV. Yeo-jong calms her down, explaining that he is a doctor and will remove the IV safely. While removing it, Yeo-jong notices scars on her arms, which she quickly hides by pulling down her sleeves. She then rushes out of the hospital. A consultant arrives with her reports and asks Yeo-jong about her whereabouts. He informs them that she left a minute ago. Upon reviewing her reports, Yeo-jong discovers that she is severely anemic. Yeo-jong reads Dong-eun's details from her ID card, which she accidentally left at the hospital, and decides to visit her at college. When Dong-eun sees him, she smiles warmly and walks toward him, causing him to be astonished. However, his surprise turns to disappointment when he realizes that she is actually smiling at another boy, Kim Soo-han, who is the son of Kim Jong, the teacher who severely abused Dong-eun in high school. This encounter marks the beginning of Dong-eun's plan for revenge. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin is spending time with her husband, Do-young. Do-young mentions that he overheard a conversation between Hae-jong and Jae-tae at a bar, where Hae-jong was gossiping about Yeon-jin's past. When Yeon-jin presses for details, Do-young changes the subject, casually mentioning that Hae-jong merely said she scored higher marks than her in school. It's clear that Do-young is hiding something, leaving her concerned. Despite her worry, she laughs it off and starts smoking a cigarette. But when her 8-year-old daughter, Yi-sol, comes home from school, Yeon-jin quickly extinguishes the cigarette. Do-young lovingly embraces Yi-sol and asks her how her day was. The next day, Yeon-jin invites Lee Sa-rae and Hae-jong to her house. Hae-jong arrives wearing an expensive dress that she rented from a local store. Yeon-jin and Lee Sa-rae mock Hae-jong for wearing such a pricey outfit despite not being wealthy. They can clearly tell that the dress is rented. Yeon-jin looks down on Hae-jong and warns her never to speak about her behind her back, insisting that she should know her place. Though Hae-jong is initially upset by their condescending remarks, she soon recovers and begins taking selfies in the rented dress, posting them on social media. The scene shifts to Dong-eun stepping out of the college library and into the park, where she accidentally bumps into Yeo-jong. He apologizes for following her, but explains that he's there to give her the medical reports she left behind at the hospital. He tells her that she is severely anemic and needs to take medication for 6 months. During their conversation, he asks if she knows how to play the game Go. She admits she doesn't know but expresses a strong interest in learning, as she wants to become an expert strategist. He agrees to teach her and seems pleased at the opportunity to interact with her regularly. However, she insists on a formal teacher-student relationship, and he agrees to keep things professional. As weeks go by, they meet in the park every evening to play Go. Yeo-jong teaches her each move and also ensures she takes her medication regularly. One day, after mastering the game, she tells Yeo-jong that she's very grateful for his help and believes he'll become a great doctor. She then says she won't see him again because she has to pursue her dream. Yeo-jong is upset by the news and hesitantly asks what her dream is, but she doesn't give a clear answer. Yeo-jong says he hopes she succeeds in whatever she's aiming for, and then she leaves. Months later, Dong-eun has completed her degree and passed her teaching qualification exams, allowing her to apply for teaching positions. While pretending to shop for shoes, Dong-eun runs into Myeon-oh, one of the high school bullies, who is now working as a salesman. Myeon-oh is surprised to see her and flirts, noting how much she's changed. Dong-eun reveals that she knows how much he resents Jae-jun for being so bossy and shares her plan. She offers him a substantial sum of money if he can provide details about Jae-jun's affair with Yeon-jin. Though Myeon-oh was initially skeptical, he agrees to help because he is eager to bring Jae-jun down. Dong-eun has now found a new apartment close to Yeon-jin's home. Every day, she stands outside and stares at Yeon-jin's house while scratching the scars she left on her. Each night, according to her plan, she checks the dustbin outside the director of the Ministry of Education's home, looking for evidence of his corruption. One night, she is caught by the housemaid, Hyun-nam. She offers Hyun-nam money to keep quiet, but to her surprise, Hyun-nam says she won't report her and is actually willing to help. However, she demands one thing in return, that Dong-eun kills her husband. Hyun-nam's husband is a drug addict who comes home every night to threaten and beat her. He abuses her so severely that Hyun-nam's daughter has to intervene with a knife, but the father brutally attacks both of them. Dong-eun witnesses this from outside and decides to hire Hyun-nam for her own purposes, offering her a separate apartment to live in. Dong-eun gives Hyun-nam a job to spy on the bullies, providing her with a camera to record evidence. Hyun-nam diligently monitors the bullies' daily routines and shares the classified intel with her each night in a parking lot. From this information, Dong-eun discovers that Jae-jun is colorblind. She recalls a high school incident where Jae-jun seriously injured a student who called him colorblind. The scene shifts to an arcade house where Do-young frequently plays Go. He observes Dong-eun there, defeating numerous opponents and earning thousands of wons in bets. Impressed by her strategic skills, he returns home to practice the game. When Yeon-jin notices his obsession with Go and suggests he relax, he explains that he's focused on defeating someone. She invites him to spend time with her, but he is so engrossed in the game that he barely responds. Later, Dong-eun is traveling to another city for an educational conference when she unexpectedly encounters Yeo-jeon on the train. He is delighted to see her, and they sit down to chat. He congratulates her on passing the teaching qualification test, and Dong-eun returns the congratulations for his success in completing the residency program. Yeo-jeon reflects on the time they spent in the park, mentioning how challenging it was for him, but how her presence and support helped him overcome his difficulties. He expresses his gratitude and hands her his card, offering to help her whenever she needs it. After the conference, when she returns to her apartment, the owner questions her about why she pays the rent but seldom stays there. She explains that she is working on transferring to Semyeon High School so that she can live in the apartment more frequently. Later, Dong-eun gathers substantial evidence of the corruption involving the director of the Ministry of Education. She confronts him in person, presenting the evidence and blackmailing him. She demands that he assign her to the same school where Yeon-jin's daughter is studying, threatening to expose his corruption to the media if he refuses. The director, feeling cornered, reluctantly agrees. The scene shifts to a high school alumni ceremony at Semyeon High School, where all the former students, including the 5 bullies, are invited. Dong-eun arrives at the ceremony and encounters her former tormentors. At first, they struggle to recognize her due to her transformation into a sophisticated and elegant woman. However, when Dong-eun reveals her name, they start to recall who she is. She congratulates them on achieving their dreams. Yeon-jin, surprised to see her, remarks that she thought she might have died or ended up in the slums. She inquires whether Dong-eun has achieved her own dreams. Dong-eun responds that she is still in pursuit of her dream. The ceremony begins, and Yeon-jin is presented with an award. Dong-eun loudly praises her, causing everyone to grow uneasy. After the ceremony, Yeon-jin angrily slaps her for being so dramatic. Jae-jun intervenes, asking Dong-eun to leave. Dong-eun says they haven't changed at all. Jae-jun responds that she has changed a lot, pointing out her colorful style compared to her dull past. Dong-eun mocks him for his colorblindness, saying he wouldn't recognize what colorful means. Jae-jun is left stunned as she walks away. Dong-eun's plan succeeds, and she gets appointed as a teacher at the school where Yeon-jin's daughter, Yi-sol, is studying. One day, Yi-sol tells Yeon-jin that her previous teacher has been replaced by someone who is a friend of her mother. When Yeon-jin learns that the new teacher is Dong-eun, she is horrified and goes to the school to confront her. Dong-eun recalls all the traumatic experiences Yeon-jin caused her and says she intends to make her suffer. She assures her that she won't harm her daughter but will use Yi-sol to exact her revenge. Yeon-jin threatens to transfer her daughter to another school, but Dong-eun counters that she will follow Yi-sol wherever she goes. Angrily, Yeon-jin accuses her of being low and leaves. Shortly after, Yeon-jin receives a text that the previous teacher, Kim Jong, has died. Terrified, she looks at Dong-eun and calls her a murderer. Dong-eun clarifies that she didn't kill Kim Jong. He died of natural causes. Dong-eun recounts visiting Kim Jong at his home with a bouquet of flowers to congratulate him on his son, Kim Soo-han's promotion to head security officer. Kim Jong, who is allergic to flowers, initially fails to recognize her. When she reminds him of the day he hit her after removing his precious wristwatch, he remembers and angrily smashes the bouquet on her, wishing he had killed her then. Kim Soo-han arrives just in time to push his father inside the house. She reveals to Soo-han that his father was involved in corruption and that she exposed his scandal, which could affect Soo-han's promotion. Soo-han is stunned by the revelation. In a dramatic turn of events, Soo-han gathers a large number of flowers in the living room, deliberately creating a suffocating environment. Kim Jong, struggling to breathe, tries to take his medication, but it falls to the floor. Soo-han, with a cold heart, throws the medications away, declaring that this is the result of all his wrongdoings. And as a result, Kim Jong suffocates to death. Devastated and angry, Yeon-jin leaves after hearing the truth and cries in frustration. Later, Dong-eun visits a local cafe where she meets the old school nurse who once treated her wounds. She is delighted to see her, as the nurse was one of the few who understood her pain during that time. The nurse provides her with details about So-hee, a girl who was tormented by the bullies before Dong-eun. So-hee was rumored to have committed the unthinkable, but Dong-eun knows she was murdered by the bullies. She recalls seeing So-hee at the pharmacy where she used to buy medicine, as So-hee had also been burned by the bullies. She feels regretful for not supporting So-hee back then. The nurse wishes her luck and expresses hope that she will uncover the truth and bring the bullies to justice. Moved by the nurse's words, she vows to complete her mission at any cost. Later, Dong-eun meets with Myeon-oh, who shares classified information about Lee Sa-are's drug account and Hae-jeon's personal affairs. In return, she provides him with information about So-hee, offering him a chance to earn millions if he can uncover the truth about So-hee's death. He visits the mortuary to inquire about So-hee's body. The doctor informs him that the body cannot be released without permission from the family. However, the family is unwilling to bury the body, viewing it as a homicide rather than a self-harm. The doctor reveals that So-hee's body has been in the freezer of the mortuary for over 10 years, and the accumulated bills amount to more than 1 million wons. If Myeon-oh can persuade the family to address the situation, he could claim a share of the money. Myeon-oh, thrilled by the opportunity to earn a substantial sum, is eager to take on the challenge. A few days later, Yeon-jin visits Semyeon High School to meet with the principal. She inquires about Dong-eun's qualifications, questioning whether she is truly fit for the teaching position. The principal reassures her that Dong-eun's CV is impressive and that she is overqualified for the role. Additionally, Dong-eun has been highly recommended by the Minister of Education. This information surprises Yeon-jin, who is curious about her connection with the minister. Later, Yeon-jin heads to Yi-sol's classroom and is startled to find Dong-eun standing behind her daughter. Terrified, Yeon-jin waits for the class to end and then confronts Dong-eun privately. In their meeting, Yeon-jin offers to pay her any amount of money to end the cycle of revenge and admits she will not apologize for her past wrongdoings. Dong-eun coldly responds that she does not seek an apology. She has spent 18 years planning her revenge, and she intends to make her suffer slowly and deliberately, like a slow poison. Dong-eun then reveals a drawing made by Yi-sol, noting that the child has difficulty differentiating colors. She uses this as leverage, stating that she knows who Yi-sol's biological father is and threatens to expose the affair to her husband, Ha Do-yeon. Yeon-jin is left speechless, unable to counter her allegations. Later, Yeon-jin talks to Do-young about sending Yi-sol abroad for her studies. Do-young is confused by this idea and asks why Yi-sol needs to go away so young. She vaguely mentions her dissatisfaction with Yi-sol's new teacher but doesn't give a clear reason and quickly changes the subject. That night, Do-young finally gets to play Go with Dong-eun, who he has wanted to beat for a long time. He loses their first game and ends up 20,000 won short. Determined, he raises the stakes to 50,000 won for a rematch. During the second game, he asks her why she loves Go so much. She explains that it helps her become a better strategist and outsmart her opponents. He finds her answer intriguing but confusing. After the game, he follows her to a bakery and gives her his contact card, showing that he is impressed with her skills. This is part of Dong-eun's plan to use Do-young's interest to her advantage. Meanwhile, Hyun-nam steals Hae-jong's phone at the airport, allowing Dong-eun to access all the personal details and weaknesses of the other bullies. At the same time, Hae-jong has managed to get a wealthy man, Tae-wook, to marry her and buy her expensive jewelry. However, Tae-wook's mother doesn't like her and demands her medical reports to check for sexually transmitted diseases. Hae-jong gets the checkup and brings the reports to Tae-wook's mom, who still isn't impressed. Then, Dong-eun shows up and congratulates Hae-jong on her upcoming wedding. Hae-jong is shocked and follows her to her car. She asks her for a private chat, kneels, and apologizes for her past actions, saying she was just following Yeon-jin's orders. She begs her not to ruin her marriage, as it's her last chance to marry a wealthy man and secure her future. Dong-eun pulls out a burning piece of wood from the furnace and holds it towards Hae-jong, making her scared. She asks her if it's hot and questions where her humanity was when she used to burn her. She then throws the stolen phone on the ground and reveals she knows all of her personal details. Hae-jong is shocked and agrees to do anything she asks as long as her secrets stay hidden. Later, Dong-eun visits Lee Sa-rae at the church and threatens to expose her drug addiction and her connection with Myeon-oh if she doesn't cooperate. Shocked, Lee Sa-rae tries to escape, but Dong-eun grabs her by the hair and demands that she fill a bag with dollars if she wants to avoid being caught. That evening, Dong-eun finally responds to Yeo-jong, who has been texting her for years. Yeo-jong, tired from work and always daydreaming about her, is amazed and excited when he gets her message. He asks his colleagues if he's dreaming. Dong-eun has asked for a medicine, which turns out to be Viagra for erectile dysfunction. Yeo-jong is puzzled and worried that she might be with another man. However, she clarifies that she needs the information for another reason and just wanted to apologize for her past behavior. Realizing she might be saying goodbye, he begs her to stay with him, offering to do anything for her. She smiles genuinely for the first time, touched by his love. She tells him she needs a warrior to stand by her and help with her cause, and he agrees to support her in every way. Days later, Yeo-jong is having lunch with his mother, Sang-im, who is the director of Seoul General Hospital. He mentions that he wants to move to Semyeong and start a private practice there. She asks why he wants to leave Seoul, and he replies that the girl he likes lives in Semyeong, and he wants to be close to her. She agrees, saying he can do whatever makes him happy. He then hands his resignation letter to her. She becomes skeptical, suspecting that he might have written a love story as the reason for his resignation, and playfully slaps him, saying he should provide a more formal reason for leaving. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin is terrified and praying at a temple. Hong Yeon-ae asks her what happened, and she explains that Dong-eun has come for revenge. Hong Yeon-ae reassures her, saying she will handle the situation. She promises to shut Dong-eun down by reaching out to her contacts in the police. Rumors about Yeon-jin's bullying have spread on social media, and her colleagues at the news channel are gossiping about her. Overhearing them, Yeon-jin loses her temper and confronts one of her colleagues. She reminds them that the news channel is funded by her husband, Do-yeon, who donated 220 million won. She warns that if the negative coverage continues, their jobs might be at risk and tells them to keep quiet. Later that night, Yeon-jin meets with Shin Yeon-jun, a police officer and friend of Hong Yeon-ae. She offers him a large sum of money to gather information about Dong-eun. Meanwhile, Dong-eun is alerted by Hyun-nam that someone is following her car. To escape, Dong-eun speeds up, but after a while, she suddenly stops, causing the car behind to bump into hers. Two men get out and demand compensation, claiming she braked abruptly. In the parking lot, Hyun-nam checks if Dong-eun is okay. Dong-eun becomes suspicious, questioning how she knew about the followers. Hyun-nam explains she was spying on Yeon-jin and suddenly saw the car following her. She reassures her that she meant no harm and brought food out of concern. Realizing her mistake, Dong-eun thanks Hyun-nam and leaves. At a mechanic shop, Dong-eun sees meat roasting and has a flashback to how the bullies used to burn her. Overcome with emotion, she collapses and receives help from bystanders. Later, Dong-eun visits Yeo-jong at his new house in Semyeong, where he is surprised to see her covered in mud. He asks what happened, and she explains that to understand, he needs to go back 18 years to when everything began. She recounts how the bullies tortured her and shows him her burned scars. Shocked, Yeo-jong vows to help her seek revenge no matter what. Yeo-jong offers to treat her scar marks since he's a plastic surgeon, but she refuses, saying she wants to keep the scars as evidence of her innocence. He then gives her new clothes and repairs her old ones, using a button from his own shirt because her old button was lost when she collapsed. As she talks about her plan, Yeo-jong reflects on his own painful past. He remembers the day his father, the director of Seoul General Hospital, was brutally murdered. The killer, who had previously murdered 3 people, had been refused treatment by other doctors. Yeo-jong's father had volunteered to help, but during the operation, the murderer killed him with a scalpel. The murderer still sends him letters from prison, telling him about the pleasure he took in killing his father. He kept this a secret from his mother until she discovered the letters herself. Shocked and furious, she went to the jail to confront the murderer, demanding to know why he continues to torment her family. The murderer reveals he takes pleasure in traumatizing her and intends to do so for the rest of his life. Enraged, she tries to attack him but is stopped by the prison guards. The scene shifts to Jae-jun receiving a delivery from an anonymous source. The note indicates that it contains crucial evidence. Inside, he finds medical reports stating that he is the biological father of Yi-sol. The next day, he visits Yi-sol at her school and tries to hug her, but she shows no interest. Jae-jun then contacts a lawyer to discuss gaining custody of Yi-sol. The lawyer explains that, despite being her biological father, he cannot claim custody because Yi-sol was born after Do-young and Yeon-jin's marriage. The only way he could gain custody is if Do-young divorces Yeon-jin. Furious, Jae-jun confronts Yeon-jin and demands to know why she kept the truth about their daughter a secret. Yeon-jin is taken aback, realizing he knows he's Yi-sol's father. Jae-jun insists that Yeon-jin should divorce Do-young and come live with him. The next day, Yi-sol tells Do-young about a parent-teacher meeting at school and asks him to attend. He is surprised to learn that the new teacher is Do-noon. At the parent-teacher meeting, Do-young is present in the classroom when Jae-jun also arrives. Jae-jun tells Do-young that there is a child in the class who belongs to him. When Do-noon enters the room, Jae-jun begins to talk to Do-young about how he used to bully her in the past and how she is now teaching his child. Later that night, Do-young sees old pictures of Yeon-jin with Jae-jun and others. He starts to doubt her and asks how she knows Jae-jun. Yeon-jin insists that Jae-jun was just an old friend and that they had no special relationship. But Do-young doesn't believe her and leaves. Later, Yeon-jin checks the car and sees through the location map that Do-young has actually met with Jae-jun at his place. This puzzles her. If Do-young knows about their relationship, their marriage might not survive. While giving Yi-sol a bath, Yeon-jin asks why she didn't mention the parent-teacher meeting. Yi-sol replies that she did tell her, but Yeon-jin must have forgotten. At the school, Jae-jun tries to flirt with Do-noon, but she slaps him. Infuriated, he warns her that if she harms Yi-sol in class, there will be severe consequences. Do-noon, however, states that she has no interest in harming his daughter. Her only goal is to get revenge on Yeon-jin. She suggests that if Jae-jun helps her, it will be beneficial for both of them. Before leaving, she gives Jae-jun a drawing by Yi-sol, showing that she cannot differentiate between colors, just like Jae-jun, who is colorblind. After her meeting with Jae-jun, Do-noon feels nauseous and goes to the bathroom to vomit. She anxiously scratches her scars, remembering the time when Jae-jun used to bully her, making her stand in the rain and body-shaming her. The next day, Do-noon meets Lee Sa-rae at the church to collect the money she demanded. Lee Sa-rae hands over a bag full of dollars and asks Do-noon to leave her alone. Do-noon responds that Lee Sa-rae's sins cannot be forgiven so easily, which makes Lee Sa-rae anxious and angry about Do-noon's next move. Do-noon then gives all the money to Hyeon-nam, saying she wants Hyeon-nam's daughter to study abroad in the US. Hyeon-nam is overjoyed and thanks Do-noon tearfully. Meanwhile, Do-young meets with Hae-jong at a fancy restaurant and inquires about Yeon-jin's past. Hae-jong, now on Do-noon's side, reveals the details of Yeon-jin's bullying in her past relationship with Jae-jun. Do-young is shocked by how cruel Yeon-jin truly was. The next day, Do-young visits the local park where he has set up a Go-game arena. There, he meets Yeo-jong for the first time. Yeo-jong challenges him to a game of Go and hints that he has come from Seoul seeking revenge. Do-young is puzzled by why a stranger would share such a secret with him. However, this is part of Do-noon's plan, and Yeo-jong is acting on her instructions. Later at home, Do-young questions Yeon-jin about her past. He mentions that someone has told him she used to be a bully and had a relationship with Jae-jun. Yeon-jin dismisses these as fake rumors and insists he should forget about the past. She then attempts to seduce him, but he is clearly not interested. Later, Yeon-jin receives details about Dong-eun's education and family history from Officer Shin and devises a plan. She goes to Dong-eun's apartment and, by bribing a worker, manages to unlock Dong-eun's room. To her surprise, she discovers that Dong-eun has been living next door for over a decade and observing her daily life without her knowledge. The walls of Dong-eun's room are covered with pictures of Yeon-jin and her gang, leaving Yeon-jin stunned. Meanwhile, Do-young invites Dong-eun to the park and asks her to share her story. She explains everything and asks him to divorce Yeon-jin so that she can suffer. Do-young expresses that he doesn't want to divorce Yeon-jin but agrees to help Dong-eun find justice. Dong-eun provides Do-young with the location of her apartment and tells him he will see something interesting there. When Do-young arrives, he is surprised to find that Yeon-jin is already there. This confirmed to Do-young that Yeon-jin indeed had some connection with Dong-eun in the past and is now at Dong-eun's place to remove evidence. Yeon-jin, puzzled, starts to doubt Do-young, wondering how he ended up at Dong-eun's apartment and if he has something going on with her. Do-young doesn't respond, and Yeon-jin storms out angrily. Later, at the office, Do-young receives a flash drive containing a message from Myeon-oh. In the message, Myeon-oh states that if Do-young wants to know details about Yeon-jin's past lovers, he should come to meet him. Do-young goes to Myeon-oh's shop, only to find out that Myeon-oh has been missing for several days. Before disappearing, Myeon-oh had contacted every bully to inquire about So-hee, a fellow student at Semyeon High School who was declared a self-harm case. It turns out that, before going missing, Dong-eun had informed Myeon-oh about the truth behind So-hee's death, that she was murdered and that one of the bullies was responsible. Dong-eun had also provided Myeon-oh with evidence, including fingerprints. The last person Myeon-oh met before his disappearance was Yeon-jin. The bullies gather together and discuss whether Myeon-oh had asked them about So-hee's case. Yeon-jin, now terrified, begins to laugh maniacally, claiming that Myeon-oh had no evidence of So-hee's murder and that they were all involved in it. On the other hand, Dong-eun goes to meet Yeon-jin at the news channel's cafeteria. Dong-eun presents her with all the evidence necessary to put her behind bars for So-hee's murder. She offers Yeon-jin one last chance. If Yeon-jin confesses her crimes and turns herself into the police, she will ensure that she receives a lighter sentence. However, Yeon-jin rejects the offer, ridiculing Dong-eun and saying she should have killed her back then instead of just bullying her. Later, Dong-eun reports Yeon-jin's crimes to Officer Chul, detailing the incident from 18 years ago. She explains that a student's badge with Yeon-jin's name was found at the scene where So-hee died. However, due to Yeon-jin's mother Hong Young-ae's influence in the police, the badge was confiscated and hidden. Officer Chul says he needs more evidence to pursue the case. Dong-eun recalls meeting So-hee's deaf and mute mother in the hospital. She had pleaded with her in sign language for help, but she was unable to assist at the time. Dong-eun then visits the school nurse's home to gather more information about So-hee. She discovers So-hee's medical report and learns that So-hee was pregnant at the time of her death. The nurse overcomes with emotion and asks her to seek justice for So-hee. They emotionally embrace each other. Later, as Dong-eun is removing pictures from the walls of her room, she notices something missing. She realizes that Yeon-jin has taken the picture of Hyeon-nam's husband. Indeed, Yeon-jin finally locates Hyeon-nam and takes further steps to cover her tracks. Yeon-jin blackmails and physically tortures Hyeon-nam, threatening to kill her daughter if she doesn't start working for her. She also offers to kill Hyeon-nam's husband faster than Dong-eun could. Overwhelmed and with no other options, Hyeon-nam reluctantly agrees in front of Yeon-jin, but she remains loyal to Dong-eun in her heart. Later, Hyeon-nam informs Dong-eun about Yeon-jin's threats, and Dong-eun advises her to play a double role to trap Yeon-jin. Dong-eun takes Hyeon-nam's daughter to the school nurse's house to keep her safe from Yeon-jin. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin finds Dong-eun's alcoholic mother Mi-hee and offers her money to force Dong-eun into quitting her teaching job. Tempted by the money, Mi-hee agrees. She immediately travels to Dong-eun's place, and Dong-eun is clearly displeased to see her. She struggles to control her anger, as her drunken mother, who had betrayed her for money in the past, has now entered her apartment. Dong-eun tells her mother that she is leaving the apartment, but Mi-hee insists she will follow her wherever she goes. Meanwhile, at Yeo-jong's plastic surgery clinic, Hae-jong comes in for treatment. Yeon-jin follows her and scolds her for revealing her relationship with Jae-jun to Do-young. Hae-jong responds that she not only disclosed that but also what she did to Dong-eun and the others. As they are about to get into a fight, Yeo-jong intervenes and tells them to calm down. Later, Yeon-jin asks Do-yeon why he met with Hae-jong and Dong-eun personally and if there's something going on between him and them. Do-yeon becomes infuriated and says that he just wants to uncover the truth, which Yeon-jin has been hiding for over a decade. He insists that he will bring justice to whoever the culprit is. The next day, Do-yeon invites Dong-eun to his business headquarters. Before entering, the guards ask Dong-eun to remove her overcoat. When she takes it off, everyone present is astonished by the extensive burnt scars covering her body. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin goes to Yeo-jong's clinic for a jawline operation. As she is about to be put under general anesthesia, Yeo-jong quietly asks her what she did to Myeon-oh. She starts to recall the events. It was October 11, 2022, when Myeon-oh had invited Yeon-jin to his store to discuss something important. Initially, she had refused due to her busy schedule, but after his persistent insistence, she agreed to meet him and told him he had only 1 minute to speak. She noticed that he was recording their conversation on his phone and quickly turned off the recording. Myeon-oh then revealed that he had evidence proving she was responsible for So-hee's death. This made her extremely fearful. Myeon-oh laughed at her and began making ridiculous offers if she wanted to protect herself. Infuriated, Yeon-jin struck him repeatedly with a champagne bottle, almost killing him. Before dying, Myeon-oh scratches Yeon-jin's foot with his nails. Terrified and confused, Yeon-jin calls Officer Shin for help to remove Myeon-oh's body. Officer Shin and his team transport the corpse to a remote location. Shifting to the recent scene, Yeon-jin wakes up from the general anesthesia and becomes anxious. She fears that the doctors may have tampered with her body. She checks herself from head to toe. Yeo-jong reassures her that these feelings are likely hallucinations, a normal reaction after general anesthesia. Later, Hae-jong receives a voice recording from Myeon-oh's phone, which indicates the meeting between Yeon-jin and Myeon-oh on October 11th. She sends the recording to Jae-jun, who is also taken aback. He goes to Myeon-oh's store and demands the video recordings from October 11th from the assistant, Kwon Ha-young. She informs him that Yeon-jin had instructed her to delete the files from that date, and she complied. However, she notes that the files might still be in the junk bin for 30 days before being permanently deleted and will require a professional to restore them. Jae-jun then consults a professional to help retrieve the videotapes. The professional is busy and tells him it will take a week. Jae-jun, however, offers him a large sum of money to complete the task within 3 days due to the urgency of the situation. Jae-jun, now suspecting Yeon-jin of being a murderer, ends his relationship with her and invites Hae-jong to his house. He proposes that she become his wife and take care of Yi-sol for him. Hae-jong agrees, and they begin an intimate relationship. Meanwhile, Hae-nam is rushing to the airport to bid farewell to her daughter, who is leaving for the US for her studies. Suddenly, Yeon-jin rushes into her home and demands the details she had ordered her to obtain from Dong-eun. She initially refuses to disclose the information, but Yeon-jin threatens her, stating that she knows her daughter is leaving for the US that day and that if she wants to keep her daughter safe, she must reveal the details about Dong-eun's partner. Under pressure, Hae-nam reveals that Dong-eun's partner is Yeo-jong, a plastic surgeon and the son of the director of Seoul General Hospital. Shocked by this revelation, Yeon-jin leaves. Later, Hae-nam's drunken husband violently beats her for hiding their daughter from him. This altercation consumes a significant amount of time, and Hae-nam is unable to make it to the airport to see her daughter one last time. Her daughter, waiting at the airport, eventually leaves in sadness. Days pass, and Hae-nam brings a significant clue to Dong-eun. She presents pictures of an abandoned mortuary, where she suspects Myeon-oh's corpse might be preserved. They secretly visit the location and notice that the meter reading is fresh, indicating that some freezers have been operating recently. Later, Dong-eun shares this clue with Yeo-jong. He decides to purchase the abandoned mortuary. The following day, after acquiring the property, they both enter the mortuary and discover that Myeon-oh's corpse is indeed stored in one of the freezers. A local worker tries to stop them, stating that Officer Shin had instructed him not to let anyone in. However, Yeo-jong asserts that, as the new owner of the property, he has all the rights to access it. Yeo-jong then explains to Dong-eun that he had extracted a piece of Yeon-jin's DNA from her injured foot during her anesthesia, inflicted by Myeon-oh before he died. They can now match this DNA with the DNA extracted from under Yeon-jin's nails, providing a crucial piece of evidence against her. The scene shifts to Chu Jong-ho, a colleague of Dong-eun at the school. Dong-eun catches him red-handed, taking inappropriate photographs of young children. She discreetly removes the SD card from his camera and sends it to Jae-jun. Jae-jun is shocked to see that the pedophile teacher has taken inappropriate photographs of Yi-sol and other kids. Furious, he rushes to the school the next day and violently assaults Chu Jong-ho in front of everyone. Yi-sol witnesses the brutal side of Jae-jun and becomes fearful of him. Jae-jun is subsequently taken to the police station for assaulting a school teacher. He explains that his actions were driven by Chu Jong-ho's criminal behavior. However, the police argue that he should have reported the incident rather than taking matters into his own hands. Do-young arrives to bail Jae-jun out, releasing him from police custody. Jae-jun confronts Do-young, questioning why he is interfering in his personal affairs, especially regarding Yi-sol. The confrontation escalates into a physical fight, with Do-young and Jae-jun exchanging blows until they are both bleeding. When Yeon-jin returns home, she finds Do-young in a furious mood. She tries to talk to him, but he tells her to leave him alone. Pressed for answers, Do-young demands to know why she kept the truth about Yi-sol's real father a secret. He questions why she married him despite already being pregnant with Jae-jun's child. Yeon-jin is left speechless, and Do-young storms out angrily. Meanwhile, Dong-eun's alcoholic mother misuses Dong-eun's phone to send inappropriate messages to her colleagues and even invites a teacher to dinner, where she humiliates her. The next day, the school staff convene and report her mother's behavior to the administration, leading to Dong-eun's expulsion. Dong-eun returns home, devastated and furious with her mother. She finds her mother with her new boyfriend and confronts her in tears. She tells her mother that her greed has caused endless suffering and that she has now crossed all boundaries. Dong-eun demands that her mother leave immediately or she will call the police. In a fit of rage, her mother stabs Dong-eun in the face. Fortunately, the wound is minor, but it leaves a significant scar on her heart. Dong-eun steps outside into the rain, where she sits in her car, pressing a cloth to her bleeding face as she sobs in pain. Meanwhile, Jae-jun, still furious from his fight with Do-young, heads towards Dong-eun with the intention of confronting her about Do-young's motives. However, Yeo-jung arrives just in time to intervene and protect her from Jae-jun's aggression. A few days later, Dong-eun visits the church where she has arranged for local gangsters to deliver drugs to Lee Sa-rae. The gangsters send a message to the church's WhatsApp group with Lee Sa-rae's location and details of her activities. When the church members arrive, they are horrified to find Lee Sa-rae in an intoxicated state, engaging in self-gratification. The scene is captured on camera and quickly spreads across social media. Yeon-jin, who is also at the scene, watches Dong-eun with a cold stare. Dong-eun confronts her, saying, "This is just the beginning. Next, it's your turn." The next day, Sung-hee publicly posts Yeon-jin's 18-year-old bullying report, detailing what she did to So-hee and Dong-eun. The report spreads like wildfire, and soon, everyone in the country is discussing and condemning Yeon-jin. With no other option, Yeon-jin retreats to her mother's temple, spending the night there to avoid social interactions. Do-young comes to fetch Yeon-jin, insisting that if she does not return home and address the public, his company's stock value will fall. Do-young hires top-class lawyers for Yeon-jin's case, but she appears indifferent. She dismisses the case, claiming that the accusations are merely rumors and that there is no evidence against her, so she has nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, Jae-jun is spending time with Hae-jong in his apartment and decides to set a date for their wedding. On the other hand, Yeon-jin receives a voice recording from Myung-oa's phone and is shocked to discover that Hae-jong was the one who shared it with everyone. Enraged, Yeon-jin goes to Jae-jun's house, where Hae-jong is now staying. She demands to know why Hae-jong shared the recording. Hae-jong responds that Yeon-jin deserves this exposure and that everyone should know the sin she has committed. Yeon-jin retorts that there is no concrete evidence linking her to Myung-oa's murder and dismisses the recording as worthless before storming out. Hae-jong goes to the police station where Lee Sa-rae is being held captive. She informs Lee Sa-rae that Yeon-jin funded the media to widely spread footage of Sa-rae using drugs as a diversion, aiming to shift public attention away from her own case. This revelation infuriates Lee Sa-rae. Lee Sa-rae manages to secure bail and returns home, determined to get revenge on Yeon-jin. She has a secret weapon up her sleeve, real footage of Yeon-jin bullying So-hee 18 years ago. In the footage, Yeon-jin is seen harassing So-hee for wearing a dress that Yeon-jin claims is a cheap imitation of her own outfit. Yeon-jin orders her to publicly strip off her clothes. The later footage, which wasn't previously recorded, shows Yeon-jin pushing So-hee from the top of a building after burning her clothes. These revelations spread like wildfire across the internet. Do-young reads the allegations and is shocked to learn that Yeon-jin was not only a bully but also a ruthless murderer. Do-young decides to meet Dong-eun one last time. During their meeting, she tells him that this is his final chance to get a divorce and leave Yeon-jin behind, as her future is now in ruins. Do-young agrees, stating that if the allegations prove to be true, he will definitely proceed with the divorce. The next day, Dong-eun is at Yeo-jon's house, checking through his drawers. She stumbles upon a cabinet full of letters from the jail. As she reads through them, she is taken aback by the extremely hurtful language written in them. On the other hand, Yeo-jon goes to the prison to apply for a job there. He plans to get revenge on his father's murderer by working in the same prison. The murderer was originally sentenced to death, but due to some officials' interference, the sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. Yeo-jon has been deeply troubled by this decision and has always wanted to see his father's killer dead. When Yeo-jon and the murderer meet in prison, their mutual hatred is intense. Yeo-jon tries to understand the murderer's motive, but the murderer mockingly explains that he enjoyed the sight of blood flowing out of the body, much like how doctors enjoy their work. This response infuriates Yeo-jon, who vows to make the murderer's life a living hell. When Yeo-jon returns home, Dong-eun greets him with a meal of noodles she has prepared. He eats gratefully, and she hugs him, thankful for his support as she is very close to achieving her revenge. Deep down, she senses that Yeo-jon is also suffering in his own way. The next day, on the school's playground, Dong-eun apologizes to Yi-sol, explaining that Yi-sol did nothing wrong and that she is deeply sorry for the suffering caused by her mother. Yi-sol is confused and asks where she is going. Dong-eun tells her that she is leaving the school and that this is goodbye. This news leaves Yi-sol feeling quite depressed. That night, Mi-hee is still in her room. When Dong-eun tells her to leave the apartment because she is moving out, Mi-hee deliberately starts a fire in the room. Knowing that Dong-eun has a fear of burning, she tries to stop her by grabbing her feet. But Mi-hee is too intoxicated to comprehend her daughter's distress. The entire scene is captured by a hidden camera in the room. With the evidence in hand, Dong-eun takes her mother to a psychiatric hospital. After evaluating her mental health, the doctors diagnose her as mentally ill and admit her to the psychiatric ward. Dong-eun hugs her mother for the last time, telling her that this is all she can do for someone as cruel as her. Meanwhile, Yeon-jin seeks help from Officer Shin, who reveals that he did not bury Myeon-o's corpse, but rather stored it in the freezer of an abandoned mortuary. This revelation puzzles Yeon-jin, as she believed the body had already been buried the day Myeon-o died. They go to the mortuary and are astonished to find that Myeon-o's corpse is no longer there. Yeon-jin, furious, slams her expensive purse against the freezer so hard that part of it breaks off. Yeon-jin then goes to meet Jae-joon, asking him for help since he is the biological father of their child, Yi-sol. However, he hesitates to offer assistance, knowing that she has become a murderer and no longer wants to be associated with her. Later, Jae-joon invites Do-young to his house and shares the recording from Myeon-o's phone with him. He tells Do-young that Yeon-jin is a murderer and suggests that he should divorce her and grant him custody of Yi-sol. Do-young responds firmly, saying that he should stop dreaming about gaining custody of Yi-sol. When Yeon-jin returns home and sees her expensive purse cabinet, she remembers that she lost a piece of her purse at the mortuary when she slammed it against the freezer. Fearing it might be used as evidence against her, she rushes back to the mortuary to find the missing piece. There, she is caught by Yeo-jon. When she asks why he is there, Yeo-jon reveals that he owns the property. Surprised, Yeon-jin rushes outside. Yeo-jon stops her and returns the missing piece of her purse, saying that they have stronger evidence of her crimes and don't need such trivial items. Meanwhile, Hyun-nam has set up her alcoholic husband to threaten Hong Young-ae. Following Dong-eun's plan, he sends messages every day, claiming that he knows her daughter is a murderer who has killed 2 people. This causes her to become terrified, prompting her to decide to kill him. She goes to the temple and gives 1 billion won to the monk, asking for help in killing Hyun-nam's husband. She then persuades Officer Shin, who is unwilling to assist in her wrongdoing, to accompany her in the car on a rainy night. He reluctantly agrees. The monk calls Hyun-nam's alcoholic husband and lures him to stand in the middle of the road, claiming that he can find crucial evidence there that could make him rich. Meanwhile, Hong Young-ae deliberately speeds up the car in the rain and hits him, killing him instantly. At the police station, she tries to present herself as innocent, attributing the incident to the rainy conditions. Later, Dong-eun surprises the monk by revealing that she knows how they killed Hyeon-nam's husband. She threatens him, saying that if she wants to protect herself from the police, she must cooperate with her. Meanwhile, Officer Shin goes to his locker to get money so he can escape abroad. His men demand money from him, but he slaps them in return, saying they were not helpful. This angers them, and they hit him in the head with a sledgehammer, killing him on the spot. On the other hand, Hyeon-nam learns about her husband's death and starts crying, her tears reflecting both joy and pain. Yeon-jin visits her mother, who is hiding at the temple to avoid police custody. As the monk performs her usual rituals, she suddenly sees the ghost of So-hee and says that her soul has returned to seek revenge. Yeon-jin is terrified when she sees monk acting as if she is being suffocated by So-hee's spirit. The monk succumbs to death during the ritual, and Yeon-jin, horrified, runs away. Later, Yeon-jin meets with Hyeon-nam and offers her as much money as she wants for her husband's death, urging her to stay silent. This infuriates Hyeon-nam, who slaps Yeon-jin and tells her she knows everything about her. She declares that it's best if they never speak again. Do-young witnesses this confrontation. He gives Yeon-jin a final ultimatum that if she admits to her wrongdoings, he will forgive her and they can stay together. If not, he will proceed with the divorce. She refuses to acknowledge her mistakes and asserts that their relationship ended the day he met Dong-eun. In response, Do-young calls his lawyer to prepare the divorce papers. The news of Do-young and Yeon-jin's separation spreads rapidly across the nation, with many speculating that the separation is linked to Yeon-jin's bullying scandal. She tries to maintain a fake smile, pretending that everything is normal despite the chaos. She gives a media talk in which she pretends to be a victim and cries to gain sympathy. She says that So-hee was his friend and fake rumors are been spread about her. Later, when Yeon-jin meets with Yi-sol, she tries to reassure her that the argument between her and her dad will be resolved and everything will be okay. However, Yi-sol surprises her by revealing that she has heard everything and now hates her. She says that bullies deserve to be punished, breaking Yeon-jin's heart. The next day, Do-young visits Yi-sol at her school, where she is visibly distressed. He embraces her, and she starts crying over her parents' separation. Meanwhile, Myeon-no's corpse is found by the police and returned to his relatives for the funeral. At the funeral, Hae-jong shows footage of Lee Sa-rae doing drugs, claiming that these were the same sexual acts performed with Myeon-no while she was drunk 18 years ago. This enrages Lee Sa-rae, who then takes his sharp pencil and stabs it into Hae-jong's throat. The police intervene, arresting Lee Sa-rae for attempted murder and sending Hae-jong to the hospital. In the hospital, Hae-jong miraculously survives, but doctors reveal that she will never be able to speak again due to severe throat damage. Seeing her condition, Jae-jun heartlessly breaks up with her, saying he cannot live with someone who cannot speak. He leaves her crying in the hospital bed. Jae-jun goes to Yeo-jong's clinic and asks if he's involved with Dong-eun. Yeo-jong denies it and while talking to him notices that Jae-jun has glaucoma. He informs Dong-eun of this discovery, sparking an idea in her. Dong-eun goes to the hospital and shares the information with Hae-jong, suggesting that she could get revenge on Jae-jun by replacing his glaucoma medication with a sanitizer, which would render him blind. Driven by a desire for revenge, Hae-jong visits Yeo-jong's house under the pretense of forgetting something in the bathroom. Yeo-jong, feeling sympathetic, lets her in. Once in the bathroom, Hae-jong replaces the eye medication with sanitizer and leaves, giving Yeo-jong a middle finger as she departs. The next day, Jae-jun goes to visit Yi-sol at school but is stunned to learn that she has been transferred abroad. Frustrated, he tries to call Dong-eun while driving but suddenly experiences blurred vision. He applies the eye drops, which Hae-jong had replaced with sanitizer, and soon everything turns dark. Unable to see, he crashes his car into a truck, sustaining injuries. Disoriented, he stumbles onto the roof of an under-construction building. A suited man, who is actually Do-young, pushes him off the edge and he falls into a large cement pond and drowns. Meanwhile, Dong-eun visits Hong Yeon-ae and proposes a deal that if Hong Yeon-ae gives her the actual batch of Yeon-jin's that was dropped at So-hee's death site, she will help her avoid consequences for the murder of Hyeon-nam's husband. She quickly agrees and hands over the real batch. When Yeon-jin arrives, she sees Dong-eun exposing her mother's betrayal. Dong-eun returns the batch, saying she has better evidences than this and that this was just a test of loyalty between mother and daughter. Yeon-jin, devastated by her mother's betrayal, breaks down in tears. Meanwhile, the police investigation wraps up, and all the evidence points to Yeon-jin. She is arrested for 2 murders and sentenced to life imprisonment. Officer Chul congratulates Dong-eun on her successful revenge and apologizes for not bringing them to justice 18 years ago. In prison, Dong-eun visits Yeon-jin and tells her that, despite finally getting her revenge, there's one secret about Myeon-oh that Yeon-jin will never uncover. This secret, Dong-eun explains, is Yeon-jin's punishment and endless curiosity knowing she wasn't the only one involved in Myeon-oh's death. Dong-eun doesn't reveal the secret directly, but it's shown in flashbacks that after Yeon-jin severely injured Myeon-oh with a champagne bottle, he was still alive and called for help from Kwon Ha-young, his employee. Ha-young, having been a victim of Myeon-oh's bullying, refused to help him. Overcome with rage and recalling her own past abuse, she struck Myeon-oh's head with another bottle, killing him. Later, feeling regretful, Ha-young called Dong-eun for assistance. Dong-eun reassured her, clarifying that she was not responsible for Myeon-oh's murder and that Yeon-jin was the actual murderer. She calmed her, affirming that she had done the right thing and promising to handle the situation. Later, after achieving her revenge, Dong-eun spends a romantic evening with Yeo-jong at the park. However, she suddenly disappears after saying goodbye. She heads to the same building where So-hee was killed, declaring that her life's aim has been fulfilled and she can now die peacefully. Just as she is about to end her life, Yeo-jong's mother arrives and stops her, urging Dong-eun to remember that her son desperately needs her and that she is his only hope. Moved by her words, Dong-eun decides to continue helping Yeo-jong. She returns to him, apologizes, and they express their feelings for each other. Dong-eun pledges to assist Yeo-jong in seeking his revenge. Dong-eun returns to So-hee's grave, congratulating her that their lives, which were disrupted 18 years ago, have now officially started anew. She reflects that they are both like 19-year-olds once again. All the bullies have met their respective outcomes. Lee Sa-rae has been arrested for attempted murder, Hae-jong has lost her voice, Jae-jun and Myeon-oh have died painful deaths, and Yeon-jin has been sentenced to 2 life terms. Dong-eun's plan has succeeded in completely destroying Yeon-jin's life, leaving her isolated and abandoned by her daughter, husband, friends, and even her own mother. In prison, Dong-eun applies for a teaching position while Yeo-jong begins his work as a doctor. On a cloudy day outside the prison, they share a heartfelt moment and express their love for each other. With their bond stronger than ever, the stage is set for the next chapter in their quest for revenge.